Hello, fabulous friends and fans. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah, and this is part of an ongoing series of special topics in which I am responding to your questions that you send to me via Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and of course through my website, nadiyashah.com. Thank you so much for your interactions. I truly love it so much, and I appreciate so much the love, the positive energy, the questions that you send my way. Truly means so much to me. And so friend and fan from Brazil asked, how do you be an astrologer? How can I be an astrologer? So basically he said that he loves astrology, has been practicing or learning astrology for a really long time, but doesn't know how to actually make the jump or make the leap from being a student of astrology to actually being an astrologer. So the most immediate answer that I would have, if you ask me, how can I be an astrologer? The very first thing I would answer is practice. That's the most immediate thing. Practice, practice, practice. Practice astrology. Ultimately, what you consider the difference between a student of astrology and an astrologer is going to depend on your own perspective. But I can say that I am very much of the belief, I tell my students, I tell friends and fans all the time, that one lifetime is not enough to know all that there is to know about astrology. And really, ultimately, astrology is a spiritual practice. In my humble opinion, it is a spiritual practice, and you will be guided towards the systems and the techniques that you need in order to develop yourself as an astrologer, in order to strengthen yourself as an astrologer, in order to learn about yourself, and also to be more effective in the world, to be a greater spiritual force in the world, and also to be of service to the people whose charts you read when you read charts for them. So how do you be an astrologer? Well, the very first thing, every astrologer I know who's ever started as an astrologer starts with their own chart. And so what you do, you have your own chart in front of you based on your date, time, place of birth. Your birth chart is a snapshot of the moment you took your first breath and you became a part of everyone and everything. And so you look at that chart and you start letting your intuition guide you towards books, towards teachers, towards classes. You Google. I remember former professor of mine, Patrick Curry, who's hugely influential on my understanding of my practice. He said to me that Google is divination. And what he meant by that is, just like with divination, you're opening yourself up to receive a message from the divine. You enter a search term and you're opening yourself up to see where that's going to take you, what search terms you're inspired for next. And it's sort of the same way when you are practicing astrology, because there's so much out there. So you start with your own chart and you start experimenting. You experiment with different techniques, different authors, different writers, different perspectives, different schools. And what resonates most with you is what you're going to likely want to learn more about, what you're going to likely want to delve into more. Wow, this is really true for me. Maybe you might read something of one school of astrology and you'll be like, okay, I'm not really connecting to this. Well, then you leave that alone and you move on to what does connect with you until you find the writers who speak with you, the writers who resonate with you, the people on YouTube, online who you resonate with as well, and websites you resonate with, as the case may be. But as you're doing this, right, you're refining yourself, you're learning about your own chart, because ultimately it is spiritual journey starts within. A journey of service in spirit to others starts within yourself as a journey of spiritual self-discovery. So you start there. And then eventually, once you've really been staring at your chart for a long time, and I'll tell you, I've been looking at my chart for a very, very, very long time. And I still find new things in there because I still consider myself a student. Yes, I'm a professional astrologer. I'm so grateful that life has led me to the place where I can share my love of astrology, what I know about astrology, but I know that I'm also a student, and I will be throughout my entire life. And so this is one profession where it's really to your advantage to get older. It is very much to your advantage. So enjoy that perk of being an astrologer. But so eventually you get to the place where you're ready to look at other charts. Normally, a lot of astrologers, I know myself, I started with celebrity charts next because a lot of the big milestones in their life are sort of charted. But you also might want to start with charts of people close to you, family, friends, that type of thing. And as you're inspired, you will start to look at more charts and gain more practice and try more techniques. And eventually you will get to the place where you feel like you're ready to look at charts of people that maybe you don't know that well, maybe do some cold readings, that type of thing. And slowly but surely you'll figure out what you are called to do. And it can evolve and it can change. I know some astrologers are really beautiful writers, and so they are really called towards writing about astrology, whether it's teaching astrology or writing horoscopes, as the case may be. That seems to be their forte and their calling. Others might have a presence online or even on television. Okay. Others might strictly like to have a client base and just keep it on that level. Okay. So how your astrology is shared and how it's practiced in a wider sense is also going to be something that you're led to as well. And sometimes it isn't immediately what you think it is, but it really starts with a love and appreciation of the planets, and it starts with putting in the hours. So it's said that anything you do for 10,000 hours, you can consider yourself an expert at. So consider how long you have been learning about astrology, and be generous with yourself if you want. But ultimately, it's about getting comfortable in the role, getting comfortable with yourself, knowing that that knowledge is within you, and you expose yourself to these different writers, you expose yourself to different people, to different knowledge, as part of awakening that knowledge that is already within you. If you're like me, I really believe, as I've said before, we right now are older souls than ever. And I do believe that it isn't really many people right now alive who haven't lived before, in my humble opinion. And if you are called to astrology, especially today, especially in our current world, where to be an astrologer is really an act of self-trust, of supreme self-trust. Some would call it rebellion, but I do believe that the real rebellion, the truest, most purest act of rebellion is to be true to yourself and true to your own heart and your own path. So to be called to the path of astrology already makes you somebody who is committed to your own truth and committed to where your soul is asking you to go. And just continue to trust that, because that impetus will lead you towards the techniques, the knowledge, the reminders that you need to make whatever contribution you are meant to make to this very extraordinary and very beautiful practice that I'm really so grateful to be a part of. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please keep your questions coming on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and my website, nadiyashah.com. I'm truly so grateful for this moment with you. Thank you. Until we connect again, take care. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Be fabulous and enjoy.